Indie game development is a risky path to take in life. Many indie games spend years in development with thousands of hours of hard work and passion put into them, only to release and be buried amongst a tsunami of other games. For every big indie success you do see, there's 99 others that you don't. So imagine being an indie dev, something that's already a challenge in itself, but then going one step further. Game development on extreme hard mode, attempting something that even the most experienced, well-funded AAA studios frequently fail at. Making an MMO. Indie MMO devs have got to be some of the most passionate and masochistic individuals you'll ever meet, with many of them being straight up delusional. I actually respect these people massively. Of all the gaming genres they decide to invest their time in, they choose the one that's a multi-year ongoing commitment with so many moving parts that it's easy to just completely drown. The genre with the highest development costs, the most jaded community, and the very real possibility that the thing you're developing will be outdated by the time it releases because MMOs just take so bloody long to make. So why do they do it? For the love of the game, for the love of the genre, and to also create something that they genuinely care about. Not for money, but for legacy. To create a virtual world within our real world that people can escape to and forget about their troubles, if only for a moment. If they wanted to, they could take the financially safe route and create a mobile game, or join a big AAA studio for stability. So love them or hate them, you've got to respect indie MMO devs. Which is why in this video we're going deep into the trenches. I'm going to dig up as many unheard of, undiscovered indie MMOs as I can, because as much as I do try my best to cover the MMO genre as a whole, there's so many of these indies that just slip through the cracks. This list only features indie MMOs that you can play now, and to be included on this list, the games must have posted a game update within the last 6 months, because I didn't want to include any games that are no longer supported. This video took a lot of effort to make, and I'll be making an updated version of this list every year, so please like this video to help us with the algorithm, leave a comment about any indie MMOs I should include for next year's list, and subscribe to the channel for more MMO coverage. But first, a quick word from today's sponsor, Blue Protocol Star Resonance. If you've been waiting for an anime-style MMORPG, this one should definitely be on your list. I actually played the recent beta myself, and the things I liked the most about the game are the clean anime-style visuals and satisfying combat. In Star Resonance, you create your character, jump into action combat, and explore a colourful fantasy setting that blends big co-op battles with plenty of low-pressure activities. The game is built for multiplayer fun. You can roam the open world of Magna, gathering resources, discovering scenic areas, and running into sudden monster events as you travel. When it's time to fight, you can choose one of the classic MMO roles like tank, healer, or DPS, but you can still swap roles whenever you want, so your team can adapt without re-rolling a new character. Boss encounters use engaging attack patterns that reward teamwork and positioning, and clearing them earns gear and materials to progress your character or help the guild. There's also dungeons with multiple difficulty levels, so you can learn the basics at your own pace or push for harder challenges when you're ready. It's not all combat though. Between runs you can fish by the river, craft, show off outfits and customization in town, and just hang out with friends, dance at festivals, set off fireworks at night, or chat with your guild. The idea is simple, solid PvE when you want it and relaxing social play when you don't. Check out the official launch of Blue Protocol Star Resonance using my link in the description. Veloren is a completely free and open source voxel MMO inspired by Cube World and Breath of the Wild. It's got gliding, crafting, dungeons, and a massively procedurally generated world that's updated weekly by the community. Despite being made entirely by volunteers, it's surprisingly polished and one of the best examples of what open source development can achieve. Embers Adrift is a low fantasy indie MMO built for players who miss the slower group-focused experience of old-school MMOs. There's no quest markers or hand-holding, you'll need to form parties, explore the wilderness, and communicate to survive. It's subscription-based, community-driven, and designed entirely around cooperation and immersion, making it a good one to jump into with a small group of friends. Reign of Guilds is a first-person medieval fantasy MMO built around full-loot PvP and player-driven politics. Guilds can own territories, control cities, and influence the in-game economy. Combat is skill-based with manual aiming, friendly fire, and no-tab targeting, creating a more tactical approach to large-scale battles. It's currently available in early access with regular development updates. Broken Ranks is a dark, gritty fantasy MMORPG with an isometric camera and turn-based combat. Set in a harsh world inspired by Slavic mythology, it focuses on survival, loss, and rebuilding after war. The game features hand-painted environments, multiple classes, PvE dungeons, and PvP zones, all built around tactical, party-based combat. Haven and Hearth is a survival sandbox MMO where every item, building, and settlement is created by the players. It features permadeath, open-world PvP, and an intricate crafting and farming system. The world is inspired by old European folklore and resets periodically, giving players a fresh start to explore, claim land, and rebuild communities from scratch. Wild Terra 2 is a sandbox MMORPG that mixes survival, crafting, and player-driven building. Everything in the world can be gathered, crafted, or constructed, from simple tools to entire villages and castles. Players can hunt, farm, trade, and claim land to build their own settlements, while PvP servers add territory conflict and open combat. It's a buy-to-play game with regular content updates and dedicated official servers. Corepunk is an isometric MMORPG with MOBA-style combat set in an open world that mixes themes of both steampunk and fantasy. The game features fog of war exploration, questing, crafting, and gathering, as well as PvE dungeons and PvP zones. Players can choose from multiple heroes and specializations, and the game's recently had a big update that's fixed a lot of issues it had during the early access launch. Swordia is probably the most unknown game on this list, and I had to dig deep into the trenches to find it. Literally not enough Steam reviews to even have a rating. It's a 2D MMORPG with charming pixel graphics similar to Tibia, skill-based progression, a mix of PvP and PvE content, as well as professions like farming, mining, fishing, and more. Project Gorgon is a sandbox MMORPG focused on discovery and experimentation. There's no fixed classes, your abilities evolve based on what you do, from sword fighting to psychology, or even turning into a cow. It features deep skill progression, a player-driven economy, and countless hidden secrets throughout its open world. Apogea is basically a modern take on Tibia. It's a medieval fantasy MMO set in a world full of secrets, quests, dangers, and other players. Apogea has real space player housing, you'll actually need to type to NPCs to advance quests, and the game has a mix of both PvP and PvE content. If you were wanting a spiritual successor to Tibia, then this is it. Nin Online is a 2D free-to-play ninja MMORPG on Steam with intense real-time combat. Starting out, you choose from one of 3 factions, grow up in the safety of your village gates, then, once you're strong enough, you can choose to abandon your home and become a hermit, or even a rogue ninja. The game describes itself as zero pay-to-win with open-world PvP and hardcore game design. Ethyrial Echoes of Yore is a 3D free-to-play sandbox MMORPG on Steam that in 2025 has been going through a major rework after being transferred to a new developer. It's heavily inspired by old-school RuneScape skill system, but with gameplay that feels more ARPG. There's 23 unique classes, XP rankings, dungeons, world bosses, and a massive world full of secrets. Ethyrial was targeting 2027 for a full release out of early access, and has been stacking up positive reviews with recent updates. Villagers and Heroes is a free-to-play cross-platform MMO on PC and mobile set in the world of Ardent. It's PvE focused with 5 classes, talent trees, gathering and crafting, and housing set in shared villages. Progress carries across devices, and the game still receives regular updates and seasonal events. Kakele Online is a 2D cross-platform MMORPG inspired by classic Tibia-style gameplay. It features open-world hunting, quests, professions, and frequent seasonal events with world bosses. You can play on PC or mobile with the same account, the game has no pay-to-win, and is one of the most positively reviewed 2D MMOs on this list. Eterspire is a lightweight, stylized 3D MMORPG built for quick sessions and low system requirements. Combat is straightforward, leveling is fast, and dungeons are bite-sized with clear gear progression. It leans into social hubs and easy grouping, making it a chill, low-friction option when you want to play an MMO without the time sink. Chords.io is a browser MMO that you could literally launch right now and be in game within about 20 seconds. I actually covered this on the channel a couple years back, and I remember seeing the starting area absolutely rammed after my video dropped. Log in, choose a class, level up, and partake in brutal cube-on-cube PvP content with world bosses and mob grinding. Adventureland, the Code MMORPG, is a unique 2D MMO where you can script up to 4 characters. You can write basic code to handle combat rotations, farming routes, and party roles, then watch your heroes grind loot whilst you iterate on the logic. It's a unique take on MMO progression and could be a fun way to learn some basic code whilst getting that sweet, sweet dopamine. Inferna is a free-to-play open-world MMO that's heavily inspired by Metin 2. I initially covered this game on the channel 5 years ago, and it's still getting regular updates today. Choose from 4 classes, level up by grinding massive packs of enemies, partake in PvP battles, and clear out deadly rifts of invading monsters. Brighter Shores is a point-and-click adventure MMORPG developed by RuneScape creator Andrew Gower. The game has a big focus on skilling, exploration, and long quests that feature puzzles, multiple dialogue options, and self-contained stories. Similar to RuneScape, the early content in Brighter Shores is free to play, but to access the later chapters you'll need to pay a sub fee. GodsArena Online is an isometric anime game inspired by classic MMORPGs with 4 playable classes, a wide variety of pets, dungeons, bosses, and mounts. The game is set in ancient Greece and has large-scale faction vs faction PvP content between Athens or Sparta. It offers PvE content for both solo players and groups, as well as crafting systems, seasonal events, and a progression system that allows you to create one-of-a-kind characters. Drakantos is a free-to-play hero MMORPG with a charming pixel art style and characters that take clear inspiration from World of Warcraft. The game has an open world to explore with resource gathering, mounts, cosmetics, a main story, social hubs, and 3-player dungeons. Other features include player housing, guild systems, global events, PvP, and leaderboards. Shards of Britannia is a free-to-play MMORPG built on the framework of the now shut down Legends of Aria, which is actually getting a relaunch with Legends of Aria Eternal really soon. It's basically a modern take on classic Ultima Online with real space housing, dungeons, open world PvP, and sandbox design where you level skills and find your own path in the world through player trade and relationship building. Kaetram is a cross-platform 2D MMORPG with charming pixel graphics that's inspired by RuneScape and available in early access on Steam. You'll quest through a medieval world, group up for bosses, chase achievements and progress via crafting and gathering, with optional modes like Iron Man and Hardcore for extra challenge. This project actually began as an open source offshoot of Browser Quest and has mostly positive reviews on Steam, so I'm curious to check this one out for myself. If it's one thing that I know about MMO players is that they absolutely love horses. Some people love horses so much that they spend their entire time running dungeons and raids to collect them. So here you go. Equinox Homecoming, aka the Horse MMO. For fans of murder mystery, horses, story, and cozy exploration, enjoy. Mortal Online 2 is a first-person hardcore sandbox MMORPG with real-time aim-based combat and full loot PvP in a massive open world where distance really matters. There are no fixed classes, your build comes from your skills and equipment. The game has a player-driven economy with deep crafting and profession systems, real space housing, open world dungeons, mounted combat and large-scale sieges where guilds fight for territory. AngelDust is a free-to-play cross-platform voxel MMORPG with a unique art style that blends 2D character models with a 3D world. Choose from one of 4 heroes, Builder, Fighter, Scout or Sorceress, then explore huge procedural maps, fight creatures, gather resources and build bases. If you prefer fully 3D characters, AngelDust also offers a separate 3D client. Realm of Simplicity is a free-to-play point-and-click MMORPG that's heavily inspired by RuneScape, basically a solo indie dev attempt to make an old-school RuneScape-inspired game in Unity. There's no classes, you are what you wield, complete quests, level up your skills, and take on dungeons for loot. Kaion Tale is a 2D free-to-play cross-platform MMORPG on Steam with mostly positive reviews. Choose a faction, explore a large open world full of magic and adventure, and fight other players in open-world PvP. Progress through 3 professions, mining, elementalism, and jewelry whilst you quest and gear up. Erenshor is a unique indie project that's a simulated MMORPG. It recreates classic MMO structure with AI-driven simulated players. You'll quest through zoned regions, run dungeons, chase gear, and team up with sim players that level and behave like real party members. No online requirement, no microtransactions. It's in Steam Early Access with regular updates and a roadmap aimed at classic MMO-style endgame. Bitcraft Online is a social sandbox MMORPG set in a single uncharted world where players rebuild civilization together. It focuses on gathering and crafting, farming, fishing, forestry, mining, settlement building, exploration, and terraforming rather than intense combat. It's more of a second monitor semi-AFK game, and as of making this video is buy to play, with the studio planning a free-to-play model at full launch. Definya is a retro-style 2D sandbox MMORPG that also tags itself as an action roguelike, with a mix of both PvP and PvE as well as crafting. You'll quest through open zones, party for dungeons and world bosses, and the game aims for low system requirements with quick hop-in sessions. It's also crossplay and super under the radar with only 62 reviews on Steam. Turf Battles. This one isn't playable on Steam, despite being listed on Steam as coming soon for many years. To play, you're going to need to grab the client from the official site. It's an old school MMO built around open world PvP and island/turf control. Choose your race, pick a class, grind gear, stack PK points, and fight scheduled turf wars for rewards. There are PvE zones and dungeons, but the endgame is guild vs guild control of islands. The Quinfall is a highly ambitious MMORPG by a Turkish indie studio that launched into Steam Early Access early 2025. It features a medieval open world with multiple professions, mounts and pets, sailing and ships, housing including clan islands, PvE questing and dungeons, and PvP systems like clan wars and sieges. I made 2 videos on this game back at launch, even interviewing the developer, and despite my skepticism towards the project, I can't help but respect this small team for trying to build something so big, even though they have been a bit sketchy. Fractured Online is an isometric sandbox MMORPG built around player towns, crafting, and PvP, where the rule set you live by depends on the race that you choose to play. Want PvE only? Be a beastman. Full loot PvP? Choose demon. A healthy mix? Be a human. Fractured Online is actually going through a major rework and relaunch, which is planned for Q1 2026. The game isn't playable now, but I really wanted to include it and give an update because I haven't mentioned this game for 4 years now, and it's made by a passionate indie team trying something different. Realm of the Mad God is a free-to-play pixel art MMO bullet hell roguelike. Team up to blast through waves of enemies, dive into dungeons, and hunt for loot with permadeath resetting your character when you die. It's fast, co-op focused, and built around short, high-intensity runs. Pantheon Rise of the Fallen is aiming to be the spiritual successor to EverQuest and entered early access as buy to play on Steam in December 2024. Pantheon is a classic tab targeting MMO that's heavily designed around group play, with large dungeons, a seamless open world, and an emphasis on exploration and discovery. Royal Quest Online is a free-to-play isometric MMORPG set in Aura, a world where magic meets technology. Start as one of 4 base classes: warrior, archer, mage or rogue, then advance into 8 specializations. Quest through themed zones, clear dungeons and world bosses, slot monster cards to boost gear, and join PvP modes including battlegrounds and castle sieges. World of Solaria is a free-to-play 2D pixel art MMORPG on Steam. You'll quest through open zones, party for bosses and dungeons, and progress via skills and professions. It features open-world PvP, a player-driven economy, mobile crossplay, and is another super under-the-radar game with only 62 reviews on Steam at the time of making this video. Pax Dei is a medieval social sandbox MMO where everything is player-made. There are no NPC quest givers, so you need to make your own goals. Build homes, craft weapons, trade, and even claim land to build villages in the open world. Gameplay-wise, it's classless action combat. The game's made in Unreal 5, and I'll be revisiting this one really soon for the full release, which is scheduled on October 16th, 2025. Shroud of the Avatar is a classless tab target MMORPG with optional multiplayer. Questing is dialogue driven. You can travel wherever you want, talk to NPCs, and pick up quests from conversations rather than big obvious question marks above NPCs. The world feels like a PvE sandbox with player-owned towns, housing, and shops. There's in-depth crafting, a focus on roleplay, and the game still receives updates. Wurm Online is a sandbox MMO all about shaping the world. You dig, raise land, pave roads, build villages, craft ships, and terraform entire coastlines. This game actually played a big part in inspiring Minecraft. It's skill-based with no classes, extremely deep crafting, and long-term progression. Servers include PvE and PvP, with the PvP being full loot, and it's free to play with an optional premium that lifts skill caps and speeds progression. Mirage Online Classic is a 2D free-to-play MMORPG built as a modern remake of one of the first online RPGs from the late 90s. It features open-world PvP, dungeons, bosses, and hundreds of items to collect. Players can level up, trade, form parties, and duel, all from a simple top-down perspective. It's available on Steam and browser with cross-platform play and continues to receive regular updates. Raven Dawn Online and Raven Quest are sister projects built on the same foundation. Both are isometric, open-world, Tibia-style MMORPGs that blend sandbox systems with classic RPG progression. You can build houses, run trade routes, sail ships, craft, and take part in open-world PvP with full loot zones. The difference between these games is basically that Raven Quest is the Web3 version built on blockchain with NFTs, and Raven Dawn is the normal, non-blockchain version of the game. Rhizome is a long-running open-source MMORPG that blends sci-fi with fantasy. It features a classless skill system where you build abilities from modular components, along with gathering, crafting, and large-scale faction wars. The game's code and assets are publicly available, and players can even host custom servers. Despite its age, the official servers are still online and receiving updates. Meridian 59 is often called the first 3D MMORPG, originally released in 1996 and later made open source. It features classic RPG combat, spell schools, guild wars, and PvP arenas, all viewed from an early first-person perspective. The community to this day maintains official servers with periodic updates and events, letting players experience one of the earliest online worlds still running today. Obviously, there's a lot more MMOs that started out as indie that later evolved into massive well-funded projects, such as Albion Online, Star Citizen, Ashes of Creation, and so on. But the focus of this video was to bring attention to the smaller projects that often get overlooked. It's definitely worth giving a special mention to Albion though, as I'd say it's probably the biggest indie MMO success story to have come from Kickstarter to secure a long-standing spot as one of the top MMOs. Hopefully, in the coming years, we'll see more indies replicate that success. But that's it for this video. Like I said in the beginning, I'd like to make this a yearly thing to help at least give some coverage to these indie MMOs that I don't always have the time to cover in dedicated first impressions vids. I'm sure there's a few I missed, so leave them in a comment, and if they're still frequently posting updates, I'll include them next year. But man, I can't believe how many MMOs I discovered whilst researching this vid that I had no idea existed. Truly an interesting rabbit hole to go down. Help us out with a like if you enjoyed the vid, subscribe for more MMO content. Thanks for watching, social media on screen, and I'll see you in the next one.